Hey, hello there, real people,
Hello,
lovely people. I see.
everyone.
Oh, some smiles. Nice. Yeah, how you doing? You can mention, you can send us hello in chat section. And if you can hear us, you also confirm that. If you can see us, you can hear us, just drop us a line so that we can be sure that everything is fine. All right, I see the chat.
Good week to
Perfect,
share with
nice.
perfect.
Hmm?
Thank John.
Yeah, yeah, lovely. So many people. Shay, hey, how you doing? Will, by the way, is our perfect customer. He's attending every onboarding session every week. He's attending with new questions, helping other customers, and also promoting GetSales. That's actually interesting. New customers reach out, start using GetSales. They have questions, and Will, like ambassador of GetSales. Thanks, Will. Perfect. Perfect. I see there are a lot of people already, and I think we can start. Actually, to be honest, we like it's it's really beautiful. I have a text prepared. We're about to start the first LinkedIn security panel, and yeah, but generally, indeed, this event it would be fully packed with value. So I really want to start as soon as possible. So just want to cover a couple of org points before we start, and then I'll pass the mic to the first speaker. And actually, three things that I want to highlight right away. The first one is the questions. So I hope you would have a lot of questions, and this is the right way to get your answers. We will be answering all the questions. The most interesting and top voted questions would be covered right after the expert presentation. The rest questions, they would be discussed at the very end within this Q&A section. If we don't have enough time to cover all the questions right away, then we will follow up with the answers. Right. So just prepare your questions and wait. And quick note here also, as you can see, there are two sections. There is a section with a chat, general chat for people, and there's also a questions section. So if you want to ask your questions, please ideally use questions section because other participants can upvote your questions and we can know which one is the hottest one, right? So let's do it in question section. That would be the best option. And yeah, that's almost it. The last part, the first speaker would be Anton from GoLogin. Like he'll be followed by Fred, then would be me at the very end, and I'll be followed by the Q&A section, right? So that's it. And I think we can start. Anton, I'm passing the mic to you. Stage is yours, and let's go.
Right, thanks, Peter. So to introduce myself, my name is Anton. I work for GoLogin Marketing. And who is Anton from GoLogin? So if you sign up for a demo, you would most likely meet me. So I'm the one who talks to clients. I'm the one who explains the pains and troubles of LinkedIn, how to deal with them. And I'm usually the one who actually introduces the app to you if you have like a demo or some sort. Right, so my main points, I have 3 points. I have basic explanation, what's IP, what's VPN, what's proxy, how this all doesn't help with LinkedIn and why. And the second thing is how people use Chrome and Chrome incognito mode and how this doesn't help for LinkedIn as well and why. And the third thing to finalize this, I will explain what's an anti-tech browser on the example of GoLogin, why should you use it, and how exactly it helps with LinkedIn. So how LinkedIn sees your IP and your device and everything. And I will explain how this works in like very basic terms and why should you use it. So before I start, we offer a discount code for every visitor of this webinar. So if you decide to try GoLogin, we have a 7-day free trial, and I will also have a discount code for everyone, which is link 50. It will appear in the chat and also on the material after the call. So it will give you 50% off your first purchase. So for example, the first pay plan is $49, you will buy it for $24. Right, so LinkedIn. Basically, most of the people who come to my demos, they try to use LinkedIn without like anything. For example, they used LinkedIn several accounts for one account for years and years, and it had no trouble. And after this, they started to get like warning messages, restrictions, your account is blocked for a week or something. So it kind of, there's certain triggers that trigger this, right? LinkedIn is actually, right now, LinkedIn is actually able to detect both your IP address, your device, your location, many other parameters. And if you meet any kind of restrictions or trouble or problems with LinkedIn, like warning messages, that's because LinkedIn not only sees your IP address, like your physical location, but also they are able to see your hardware, your installed software, your device, your model. Something that's called collectively browser fingerprints. I don't know if you heard about that before. It's a tracking mechanism that LinkedIn applies right now. So basically, if you simply change your IP address, it just doesn't help for LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is able to see through that. So basically, IP address, it's what I have to often explain to LinkedIn people at our demos. It's basically a physical location. So your device, for example, phone or laptop, has an IP address, and you can change it. So, for example, most of our people try to use VPNs, for example, NordVPNs, Proton VPNs. And the problem with VPN is for LinkedIn, it doesn't actually help because VPN hides your original IP address, but it does encrypt the connection, which is a problem. So LinkedIn, if you use VPN, they see a different IP address, but they see that you're trying to encrypt it, so they don't see the traffic that you're doing. So that's not necessarily like a reason for your instant like block restriction, but it's a very big factor for suspicion. So LinkedIn sees that you're trying to do something fishy. So if you use VPN, yeah, what about proxies? That's my next point. That's a good question. And browser what? Browser fingerprinting. I will get back to that a little bit later when I talk about GoLogin. Okay. Right. If you use a VPN, the connection is encrypted, which is a suspicion factor. So it actually can help for a limited time. So I know clients that, for example, use NordVPN and it helps for some time, but then they inevitably get blocked because LinkedIn is able to see through your IP address again. Now, next thing is proxy. You can use the proxy. So for example, you can buy like 10 IPs or 100 IPs from a proxy provider, which is really easy. And you can switch a proxy in your device, for example, in Windows settings, Mac OS, or like use a proxy switcher. And if you just do it, so you just have a different IP address. But again, LinkedIn is able to see, they're able to detect both the proxy usage and the device. So if you're using if you're using the same device for LinkedIn, LinkedIn is able to see that it's still you. So it's still the same person, the same laptop or phone, and they're able to link the accounts and block both of them. So if you're trying to do something fishy with that, so proxy alone, unfortunately, doesn't work. Even if it's the best mobile proxy, it doesn't work because LinkedIn applies browser fingerprinting and device fingerprinting as well. So these two things unfortunately doesn't work. So we're slowly moving to why should you use GoLogin or like any alternative. And the second thing I wanted to mention is Chrome profiles. Some people actually use Chrome profiles as the alternative for running like 2-3 accounts on LinkedIn, both like separate Chrome profiles and incognito mode as well. And I know that for some people in the past, Chrome profiles did work before LinkedIn actually tracked the device or the software of the user. But at the moment, neither of these methods work for LinkedIn because LinkedIn is very much sophisticated software for like tracking the users, right? So they have like specific algorithms for tracking you, and different profiles on Chrome, like on Google Chrome, it's a too simple a method to actually use, so it doesn't work anymore. Exactly how LinkedIn sees through your IP address. Again, I need to mention that it's a mechanism called browser fingerprinting. You can Google what's that. So you can Google it on GoLogin website or like anywhere. So it's a mechanism of tracking that was applied like maybe 10 years ago, it was mostly applied mostly on banking websites because they need to identify users for safety. And at the moment, most of them are on social media like Facebook, Reddit, obviously LinkedIn, Instagram. They use the same mechanism to separate the users from like separate real users from fake users. So they track lots and lots of different hardware parameters and software parameters. So for example, if you have like uh, different installed apps on your system, they are able to see that. And with this way, they are able to see if you're a bot or if you're a real person, because your system is unique. And if you try to play with that, they can see that it's not natural. So that's how they separate you from like fake traffic. So yeah, why people should use GoLogin and what's GoLogin? How does it help? So if you first install GoLogin, you can probably think that it's just an app for switching proxies, because we provide you with like browser profiles, which are simple lines in the app, and then there's proxy IPs. And after this, there's some advanced settings that most people don't touch. But again, I mentioned that if you only use proxies, it's not going to work. So you actually need to emulate different devices. So for example, a working method today for work for LinkedIn would be buying separate laptops. That's exactly what we're trying to emulate with GoLogin. So GoLogin, in very simple terms, what this app does, it creates different devices for you. So for example, when you buy GoLogin, you get access on the first pipeline, you get access to 100 of separate devices, like laptops or desktop computers. And also after that, you just assign proxy IPs to each of them, and you get access to 100 separate devices, which to LinkedIn, they are completely separate. So at the moment, this is the best working scheme for like LinkedIn, any other social media website. So LinkedIn is just one of our use cases. It's actually a dashboard for like literally any website. So for example, if you need to share an account on some expensive subscription website, you can use GoLogin to share the profile. And for LinkedIn, if you use it for like multiple devices, multiple users, it's still one device and one user. So they don't see the multiple logins. And yeah, it's by far the safest method. So I know it can sound a little too technical for most of the users, and that's why I actually do my job, because, well, most of the people that require demos, they usually come to my interviews, and I would explain that this works like this. But yeah, if you try to log into like use it for LinkedIn or any other website, we're trying to make it people first, because most of the people I talk to are not technical, so they don't know what like proxies are, different types of proxies, VPNs. They just want to do their work on LinkedIn, and we're trying to actually build an app that you can install. You can click run on your browser profiles, and LinkedIn account just pops up, so you can run like accounts simultaneously. So basically that's the end of my speech. I would like to also answer questions if you have them.
That's great. That's great. Actually, time's up. I was about to interrupt you, but you're perfect with time.
Nice.
And
Nice.
yeah, you nailed it. We've got two questions, actually very cool questions, I'd say. The first question is, what is the, like, from Charles, I've noticed GoLogin is more expensive than AdsPower. Is there any main differentiators that we should consider? Like,
Yes, it's a great question. Yeah. First of all, we usually encourage people to test both the tools because, well, some people will just like AdsPower more on the interface side. AdsPower is, I would say, from my perspective, is a marketing person and obviously an employee of GoLogin. AdsPower is a good tool, but only if you trust it enough, and only if you're skilled enough to actually use it for like day-to-day stuff, right? So I will not necessarily call it a bad tool because it does the job for some use cases, and we know people that work successfully using this. But yeah, it's more expensive than AdsPower. How do I say that? So first of all, GoLogin provides built-in proxies, which AdsPower doesn't have. Second thing, it's a whole different level of support and reliability because GoLogin is a US-based company, and we store the data on like trusted company servers, while we don't know where AdsPower actually stores their data. So I don't know, it might be connected with like Chinese government, whatever. Not claiming on this, but yeah, just think about it. So it's a whole level, it's a whole other level of like company trust, and we are responsible for where we store the data, who has access to the data, and also it's a whole other level of interface as well. So yeah, I could actually continue. You can just try both tools. AdsPower has a free plan. GoLogin has a 7-day free trial of the paid plan as well. Yeah, you can, basically you can just try both tools. That's what we usually encourage people to do, because most of the people, especially who use social media, they can tell the difference straight away.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great question, and let's do another one. We have like quite a few. We'll cover then, but let's say the question from Luis: do you guys plan to have physical cloud Android phone like GoLogin for anti-detect automation account creation?
Yes, good one. We're actually planning to introduce that soon. We don't have the same thing to actually compete with GLARC at the moment, but we're actually planning to introduce that like maybe in a couple of months.
Thanks, because it's interesting me as well. So
Right. Right. We actually, so a small insight, we actually have the infrastructure to launch it, but we need to develop it in a very like smooth way, not the test thing, but we need to actually issue it in a very usable competing way. So it just needs some time for development team to work.
Perfect. Perfect. No, that's great. That's great. And I also know that guys, they're working on some proxy like updates, like that they might be providing proxies also, right out of the box, if I'm not mistaken, Anton, right? Is that true?
Can you say it again? I kind of missed it.
Yeah. I'm saying that GoLogin guys, they're really cool. They're developing new features. They're also preparing some proxies that would be available, more proxies that would be available for the customers. So it's really nice.
Yeah, well, we do actually have proxies available for the customers inside the app at the moment, but there is always background work in progress on actually improving the quality, because, for example, at the moment, we only have rotating IPs in the app of all types, but they only rotating, and we're working on including static IPs as well, because the request is high. So we're just looking for a good provider for like a fixed IP amount.
And I think it's time to pass the mic to Fred. Right. Thanks. Huge thanks to Anton. And we have a lot of small questions also we will cover at the very end. So now, yeah, let's well done, Fred. The stage is yours.
And I will try to answer to complete Anton about footprints. First of all, hello everyone. I recognize a lot of my customers on this meet. So hello and nice to meet you for other. I hope you will become my customer after this webinar. I will, like Anton, share a discount code, but like you know, MirrorProfile is not really generous on the pricing. But I want to be generous now about all knowledge we have, because we create MirrorProfiles 4 years ago, because we run our own lead generation agency, and in fact we need MirrorProfiles. So we create it, and now we manage more than 6,000 LinkedIn accounts, and we produced around 8,000 per month. So how it's possible to do that? First of all, LinkedIn is not stupid. It's the first rules you need to have in mind, because even you do perfect things. So GoLogin, proxies, cookies, extension, I will be more precise on that. You will have a ban rate. Okay, it's normal. For me, a ban is when LinkedIn asks verify your identity. Okay, I'm specialized on fake LinkedIn accounts. But first, to complete Anton, we chose GoLogin instead of Dolphin, AdsPower, etc., because we can build like a true footprint, and also customer support is great. So it's really important when you don't a perfect technical guy. So 4 years ago, we were not technical guy. So now we are more technical guy, but thanks to GoLogin, his API, etc., we can increase a lot how production is. That why we can create 8,000 LinkedIn payments. Obviously, we don't do it manually. Okay, it's important to have in mind. So first, why we use GoLogin? It's because I don't go about proxy, etc. On our side, we use 4G mobile proxies, okay, not residential one. But on the first part, when we create an account, we create with a GoLogin session. Obviously, we attach on each GoLogin session a different proxies. And after that, we go download some random extensions. After that, we will visit some website. We know which website has a LinkedIn trackers. So thanks to that, for LinkedIn, they think this new computer, this digital computer, has a normal behavior, a human behavior. Because when you buy a laptop, for example, you never buy a laptop only to go on GoLogin. It's a weird behavior. Since December 20, so since 7 months, LinkedIn updates its policy for a better reading cookies. The official version is to adapt the ads, but in fact, it's also to see if you have a weird behavior. So when we create LinkedIn accounts, we work also on that, not only on LinkedIn. And that is really important to have in mind. After that, about proxy, we use 4G mobile proxy. We have our own farm in European for European accounts. That it is really important to check the quality of your provider, because we spend a lot of time in United States. We find one, but a lot of proxy provider share their proxy to multiply users. In fact, for business point of view, it's normal. But on your side, you never know what your colleagues do with the proxy. So maybe the note of your proxy is really low. And LinkedIn, before you create any LinkedIn accounts on this GoLogin session, already we ban you. Okay, so that is really important about the quality of a proxy. After that, I will take my note because I have a lot of points. so yeah, so why always sign in through GoLogin? It's really important to avoid to have 2 IP on one LinkedIn account, but that it's now since year or months, LinkedIn is able to detect if you have 2 IP on the same LinkedIn accounts. But what I say, it's not only the IP, it's cookies, it's internet history, it's all of that who create a footprint. And when you create with GoLogin, it's the same computer, the same internet connections. LinkedIn is quite blind to detect technological speaking. Okay, so after that, you have the second step of security about the quality. Okay, so that is really important, because the secret sauce of MirrorProfile is time and patience. On my industry, each competitor you can have, or each provider of LinkedIn accounts, wants fast money. They don't take 3-4 months to warm up the profile. And the warm up process is the most important things, because in fact, during the warm up, we do every LinkedIn actions. Even if our customer at the end of the process never scrap LinkedIn company page, for example, or never do LinkedIn post, we already did one time at least on the LinkedIn accounts. And that it is really important, because if you are an expert on this industry, you often see different, and LinkedIn give you some things, because when they ban your accounts, they give you why. So suspicious connections, suspicious activities, etc. And behind these words, in fact, suspicious activities, it means You never visit 50 profile one day before. It's weird. It's 100% it's sure it's with automatic way. So that's why we are really demanding on MirrorProfile to respect our rules, because we did for you a lot of tests. On the warm-up process, if I need to be more precise, we gradually send connection requests. For example, we never create a LinkedIn account and we send 100 connection requests per week. No, we start with 10, after with 30, etc., etc. It's that why the warm-up process can last 3-4 months. Now, before November 2024, the warm-up process lasts 3 months. Today is more 4 months. Okay, it's important to have in mind. After that, maybe there is some questions, or I keep going, Peter. Maybe.
So yeah, I'm just reading them. I see the question about how to unblock profile after the block. I'm not sure if you are unblocking your profiles because you're kind of magician, you're avoiding blocks, right? But maybe you can also like cover it really quick.
When the LinkedIn account is banned or blocked?
Yeah. What do you do?
What it's happened is we replaced with a new one. We are not we are not magician. We have some hack, but it's really 20% of success, and it can take weeks. So there is some customer on this webinar, but it can happen when a LinkedIn is banned. We try to recover it without an ID card because we stay on the fake accounts. But in 2-3 months, you will receive an email from me. We recover an account, your previous accounts. Do you want it? Or I put it in a rental for other customers. So we can recover accounts, but it's really random things. So it's that why, in fact, 99% of case we replaced with a new one.
I think that was a question just from people who have a lot of, who just facing these issues and they're wondering if there is a secret sauce how to unblock them.
For these people who ask that, you are not alone. so when we create an account, that's why we rent accounts only who bypass all LinkedIn security steps, our own LinkedIn security step, because between 0 and 100 connections, even us, we have around 70% of ban rate. Okay, if you respect perfect things and you hear well, you listen well today, maybe you can have 80%. But if you go without GoLogin, without all of that, you will have 95% of ban rate. So in fact, it's not business speaking interesting, because if you pay $1,000 a guy to create LinkedIn accounts, in fact you will lose money. Okay, so it's really important. Another things I want to say about LinkedIn accounts, I see too often people who think LinkedIn user is not important. Only LinkedIn algorithm is important, but that it is totally false. Okay, so if you create a LinkedIn account with first name, last name, Asia speaking, for example, and you want to prospect in United States or in European countries, people will be find strange. So maybe they block you, or the worst case, they report you. And 1, 2, 3, 4 reports, manually reports, can trigger to a ban. So it's really important when you create a LinkedIn account to think about your user, your prospect. It's exactly the same when we build professional experiences, schools, etc., the about, etc. All that is credible. Why? Because if you receive, for example, if you see on your LinkedIn accounts, you receive a connection request, you visit the profile and you see a doctor who did a business school, it's weird, okay? So it's not possible at all. So if they know it's a fake account, okay, or they know if there is weird things, so they will report or block you, okay? So this makes sense. Is really important when you create this identity about LinkedIn. Also, when you create an account, don't hesitate to. It's not important to create the perfect profile at the beginning. Why? Because in fact, around 6-7% of people follow back when they receive a connection request. So in fact, they see three things: your picture, the headline, and mutual connections. And after, they click accept or not. So don't waste your time to create the perfect profile before 500 connections, because before that, you don't sure 500 or a security step, but before that, you are not sure the LinkedIn accounts keeps alive, okay? And by the way, after that, we have a ban rate of around 5%, so it's not guaranteed, okay? Never, no one on this planet can say, except LinkedIn guy, can say my account is 100% safe, okay? So that it is important. Another things, because a lot of people thinks we have an army of India guy or something like that to create LinkedIn accounts and warm up them. No, we create our own AI. Okay, not ChatGPT, etc. Is another things, and it's that why we can, and that it is interesting, because in fact, before we create our own AI, because since when we create MirrorProfile, of course we did it manually, but now we don't do it manually at all, and the ban rate is it's lower thanks to the AI, because you can take your time with an AI. You can spend 10-15 minutes just to like a post. After, you will just check if how we can change your password, etc. LinkedIn has several trackers on his website, and some trackers is just to find if, when you create an account, are you a beginning on LinkedIn platform or are you an expert. If you spend only 2 minutes to like a post, go on a search bar, click CEO and put the localization, you are not the beginner, okay? You are more an expert. So LinkedIn is not stupid as well on that. And today, by the way, since 1 month or 2 months, now it's not LinkedIn itself who checks the security. They don't buy. They have a provider of security, an external provider. So it's mean in these next months, the security will be improved, and that it is really important. LinkedIn does 2 big updates per year, during November, December, and during July. So it's normal during these months, these 3-4 months, if you try to create LinkedIn accounts, if your ban rate increase, it's not totally normal. Since I think 1 month, and thanks to GetSales, it will be really good because the other automation tools, it was a really mess due to the 2FA update. It was a mess. And with GetSales, and thanks to the native integration with GoLogin, the 2FA update wasn't a big deal. Okay, so it's important also to select your tools, and don't go every time on the cheapest tools. GoLogin maybe is more expensive than AdsPower, but we choose as GoLogin because about the safety, the expertise, as well for GetSales, okay? And when you want to create a true business and a reliable business with LinkedIn acquisition, etc., you need quality. It's, the price will, if you spend $1,000 to bad tools, you will lose everything. If you spend $1,000 in good tools, maybe you will keep $500. So it's important to have that in mind. I keep going, or there is a questions?
Like there are so many questions. I think you can keep going, just cover a few other things that you have, and then
Okay.
you'll pass the mic to me, and then you can answer the questions right in the questions section. Like if you...
Okay. Okay. So after that, during the warm-up, obviously we send connection request. And we think about that, but we never do. We never do that. But because we manage more than 6,000 LinkedIn accounts today. In fact, when it will be really easy for us to create an account and send 500 connection requests from our fake accounts to warm up the accounts. But like I explained, LinkedIn is smart. So if you do that, you create a pattern. So LinkedIn will notice this kind of hack, and you will have a wave of ban. So never do that. It's that why we send true connection request to true people. Okay, so that's also it is an important point. Each point is important, in fact. I speak about KPI, so that it is important also. Yeah, about our rules. Why? And I maybe I will send the link after that. But when we did a test, it's like an open source, so we don't share our rules only for our customer, because it's interesting to do that, because sometimes people and customers give us some feedback about LinkedIn algorithm. So it's normal, we do the same for everyone. So for example, there is visit profile. That is an important thing, because it depends of your use case. But if you need a lot of LinkedIn data, each LinkedIn automation tools will push you to do a visit profile. In fact, it doesn't impact at all your acceptance rate or reply rate. It's important to fulfill your database, but it means you take the risk for everyone. Okay, so it's important to use GetSales or to use Clay. Clay is a great tool for database also, and after that you copy paste the CSV of Clay on GetSales, and it's totally safe for you, and you don't need to do a visit profile actions. And also, why it doesn't increase acceptance rate or reply rate, it's because since years now, but only Sales Navigator accounts can see who visits the profile, and they are not notified about that. So the best actions you can have is like a post, endorsement, etc. That it is a great actions. Okay,
Oh, that's a great insight. I even didn't know that it's not visible now for just members without Sales Navigator subscription that they visited. So previously it was not visible all the time, but sometimes. But now that's great. Great. I knew that I would be getting more insights from this meeting too. So and let's maybe do like the last point, something really cool, and then I'll take the mic and switch to the my topic.
Sorry, Peter, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, you can we have like just a few more minutes for the part, right? So you can just cover a few more interesting things and then pass the mic.
Okay, I will end. If you have other questions, don't hesitate about question part, but send me an email also, because there is a lot of things about this industry. But I will end about GetSales, because I think with Peter, we know each other since months, not years. And before we work actually with all LinkedIn automation tools. We have more than 300 customers, more than 6 LinkedIn accounts. So obviously, we all our LinkedIn accounts have different automation tools. 10 times lower the ban rate with GetSales. Why? Because thanks to GetSales, the first step of security we have, thanks to GoLogin and the footprints, internet history, etc., is respected. So that's why GetSales is really, really interesting about safety. It's also interesting about scale, obviously, but for other tools, I don't speak about tools who use yet Chrome extension. That it is really stupid because LinkedIn can detect it really easily. But also some tools accept custom proxies. That it is great, but and that it can work, but it's not the safest way because you don't use the footprint of build thanks to GoLogin. So yeah, I will end my part with that.
Yeah, no, man, that's cool. You told 10 times better. You said 10 times better. This is like we should definitely use it on our website. The new wording for the review. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Fred. Huge thanks. I really see so many questions from people. So I think you can type right now your answers, or we can do that right after the meeting. Or like, yes, it's up to you. And then I'm grabbing the mic. Right now it's my part. As you probably know, I'm Peter, co-founder at GetSales. Right, and my topic is triggers and bans that are happening on LinkedIn, why they're happening, and how you can avoid them. So we've been working for over 5 years, and we learned a lot of insights from this work, actually cool insights. And I would say how we see this now, how LinkedIn blocks people. It's not because you committed something, like committed X, like you did this and you got blocked, because different people, they do different things and they never got blocked. At the same time, you will do that, you will be blocked. So in our understanding, it works differently. So in our understanding, there is kind of a line that you can cross. Every profile, it kind of has this different line, different number of penalty points that you can collect before you get blocked, right? So actually, when you do anything wrong in LinkedIn understanding, you assign these penalty points: 1 point, 2 point, 3 points, right? Different things can bring you different amount of points. And once you get, let's imagine, 20 points, you got blocked, right? You get some notification. So that's actually how we see this. And what kind of things they can trigger these penalty points? There are a lot of them. And actually, what GetSales does, for example, we're working on mitigating these risks. We're just trying to remove all the triggers. One by one, we're removing them. So you have less risks when you deal with LinkedIn outreach. And I want to start with the first one. Fred already mentioned that, LinkedIn sessions. So it's very important how many sessions you have, right? Every new session is a trigger. So in some cases, it can block your account. In some cases, it just increasing risks. That's why this single session protection of GetSales and integration with GoLogin is essential, because for example, Fred's accounts, when they connected to GetSales from GoLogin, we're not initiating a new session at all. So it's just existing session which is connected, and you just have one session. Right. At the same time, for some accounts, for our customers that creating a new session, they connect it to the system, then they can close the rest of the sessions, and you still can have just one single session, and you can access your account directly from this session. Your VAs can access the account. The automation is happening also from the same session. Like, so this way, we kind of removing this trigger. The next trigger, which is very, very important, is proxies. Again, everyone already highlighted that. At this moment, GetSales is using bright data proxies, but generally what influence the safety, like what can trigger LinkedIn changing proxies. If you do the change, it's a trigger. Suspicious IPs, when some people are scraping from these IP addresses, scraping LinkedIn, maybe Apollo is scraping, maybe you're getting this IP from Apollo, so that can be really bad. You have wrong location, so one location on your device, on your mobile phone, another location in one session, another session, another location. So all this mess with locations is important. And yeah, what we do, like we provide really good quality of proxies from Bright Data, and they have the highest stability. They are not dying that often like others. The highest quality we could get across all other platforms. Plus, in addition to that, we provide you an option to use your own custom proxies. We have customers who are using like multiple proxies. To be honest, like since we've been working for a long time, like I would say 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we only had data center Germany-based proxies at all, no other proxies at that moment, and everything worked fine then. And there are, like, again, different options, different approaches to that, but better proxies you have, less discrepancies you've got, better provider you've got for the proxies, better would be for your accounts. And yeah, you can choose your own and you have control over it. So the different trigger that we've got is a browser emulation. This is very important, and that's actually a huge pain for all the tools in the world that deal with automation, and it was a problem for us also. So imagine we have like LinkedIn automation, we have the product itself, and in addition to that, we have to emulate right browser, right? So like how good we are at that. Like, and apparently GetSales and any other tool in the world, they're worse than anti-detect browsers. So the guys, they develop software to trick Facebook, to trick LinkedIn, and they know how it should work. They know all these small things. And when the spike of bans happens across all the platforms, people start to think, what is wrong with this browser emulation? For some reason, they started to detect it, and no other tools, they have good experience in that, like good expertise. And that's why actually, like 1 year ago, we decided to completely switch to GoLogin, because guys have this expertise. We had to extend our expertise in terms of emulation of new browsers, and now it works fine. I mean, some tools you would see like headless browsers, Linux browsers, some kind of suspiciousness, limited data, and that can be a problem. Another trigger, I'll just, trigger. I hope that makes sense. Another trigger is actually the schedule of your sender profiles and what's happening with your account in real life, and you don't know what's happening, and your account is just connected to the software like all day long, like 24/7. Your account is green in almost all the tools. I can tell you for sure, like if the guy is running automation, because he's green day and night all the time. So that's apparently a trigger. So imagine LinkedIn, as Fred told, they are smart guys. They can see that the account is always green, and it means that probably something is wrong, right? Apparently, they might be running automation, so it brings you additional penalty points. That's why we have this server schedule. When we completely shut down all the activities, messenger imports beyond these hours, to prevent you from getting this penalty point to your account. And let's go further to the spike of activities and like just simulate new accounts. So when you create new account, or you just created it, or it was not active for some time, or you just never did active outreach, as Fred mentioned also. LinkedIn will see right away if you did nothing, and then you just sent like 30 connections, and the next day 30 connections. Apparently, you started to use automation tool. So this is very important trigger, and that's why actually you have to warm up your account once you connect to the system, even if you have 500 connections and everything. And as you can see here, we're scoring the account health. We see how many activities you did the last month, how many connections and messages you sent, and then we allow you to ramp up the limits. So kind of warm up, ramp up every day. We increase the limits step by step. So you have like, you are really safe with that, and you don't have to spend time on that, especially when you manage a lot of accounts. It's very important. Another thing, another trigger that is quite important, and also like people just, LinkedIn knows everything. And I'm really happy that Fred mentioned that LinkedIn has this new provider. Probably there would be a spike of bans across all platforms. Hopefully it won't affect GetSales, but it would be like very, very limited effect as we have very, very good protection at this moment. But limits randomization. What it means, usually you set up the number of connections that you can send. For example, you can say that I'll be sending, 1 second. So yeah, so you would be sending 25 connections. You can set up, you can disable smart limits, you would be sending 25 connections a day, and then every day you would be sending only 25. Actually, that's not good, because if in case like you're doing the same number of activities, it's a trigger that can tell LinkedIn that you might be doing something wrong, and that might not be a real person but automation. That's why, for that reason, we have this smart limits again. Very important thing that no triggers actually. Just 1 second. I'm I have a bunch of kids, they're playing with my gym equipment. So yeah, like if you have any of these triggers, it's not fatal, it's not that bad. It's just influence the possibility of getting blocked. So yeah, randomization of the limits, randomization. Today you send in 25, tomorrow 28, yesterday 20. So this randomization is really important. And the same for the delays. Imagine 3 minutes for all tasks, like how it works on your tool. And with GetSales, we create this unique planner line, different tasks, different prioritization, different delays. Every day it's all randomized, and it's kind of untraceable. So again, we're trying to remove this trigger, which can influence the ban rates. Another thing which also might be missed by many people is withdrawing queue. So when you send a connection, it's better to withdraw connection after some time, because if you have too many outcoming connections, they not get accepted. You just have a huge queue. It influences the health of the account. And apparently, with a good account, like you just send connection, they got accepted, and when you have a huge queue, it's worse for you. So you should be definitely doing this, withdrawing your connections. And in GetSales, actually, we don't have feature to just withdraw all the rest, all the old ones, but you can add this withdrawing node inside the automation. Once like you waited for a certain period of time, and then you're waiting, and then you're withdrawing connection after that. Getting back to the triggers, block rate, reply rate. This one is also very important. When you send people messages, if you got flagged, like people can say like it's spam, it's spam. If they do that a few times, you're in the trouble and you can get blocked. If you get very low reply rates, or that would be low acceptance rates, you got blocked also. It's influenced that. It's actually part of your health. So there is actually this metric like SSI, which is not quite, real, but it combines a lot of triggers also. And part of this SSI is also the connections, the network, what kind of network you have, and how many people are accepting you, and this kind of stuff. So block rates and reply rates is very important. So you don't have to spam your people, and you also should be should not be sending links. I remember that from Fred's guide, right? If person never replied you shouldn't be sending a link, some random link, because it's kind of a trigger, and it can also trigger people to mark you spammer. And for LinkedIn, it's also visible. Right. And yeah, and on GetSales, by the way, a small thing that we've got is also tracking this block rate. So when we score the account, you can see how many times you were blocked. Actually, we have this metric on the dashboard. You can see how many times and what are the leads that blocked you. And if you got blocked by a few people, we will reflect it on your account health score, and we will decrease the limits, right? So imagine you send a lot of messages, 100 messages, then a few people called you spammer, they reported you spammer, then you would have a penalty right there from GetSales, and then we will send way less messages than you're sending right now. So you can just look into this metric also, the block rate. Like two more things I think that should be covered also. The first one is extension. Like probably many of you know that LinkedIn, when you launch the page, it scans for the extensions that are installed on your laptop, right? So they can see almost all of the extensions that you have. And essentially, they check if some of these extensions are on the kind of banned list. So if they see that you're using this and that extension, like Galaxy extension, like Apollo extension, some others, they would assign you this additional point, risk point. So you shouldn't be doing that. And additionally, and if the tool requests you to install some extension to work with automation, it's also a sign which can be easily recognized by LinkedIn. And lastly, the last one I want to cover is enrichment. So enrichment thing is also a mechanism when tools can know what kind of like before starting the automation, enrichment is actually a very essential part of the process. And in most cases, tools just do the enrichment using your profile. So you have a profile, then as Fred mentioned, they visit some account from this profile, right? And then they do some activities. So that's kind of enrichment. So they can do the automation. And this is not good in some cases because it creates an additional workload. And also when you do that, it can be generally like when you have to do that, it's bad for the account. And some tools like GetSales, for example, we're doing smart enrichment. So we initially know all the database, like we know all the leads, we know on which networks they are. So instead of just enriching profiles using your accounts, we do it in a smart way, not loading your account, not making you doing this enrichment. And again, in most of the cases, customers don't know how that works at all. And that's also important. And imagine that if, for example, you just put a link and this link doesn't work, also that can be a problem in many cases of many tools. You visit this link and it's just 404, so it's kind of non-existent anymore. And if you do that a few times, visiting broken links is bad for your account. And if enrichment is done from your profile by the software, it's bad. Again, like in our case, for example, in our architecture, we do this enrichment centrally using GetSales resources, using some GetSales profiles also, and using smart enrichment mechanism when we use the data from the network of the users. So in that case, you have less risks for your accounts. And actually, it's it. And maybe we have some questions, like burning questions for me. It was like nobody interrupted me. Maybe everyone left already. It's like, yeah. Yeah, don't see questions yet. Let's say just one more time the perks. I haven't mentioned GetSales perks for the customers. For like new people, for new customers of GetSales, we will be providing 2 months free of charge Flex Unlimited plan, which worth $3,000 per month. So for new customers, you get it for free for 2 months. Fred already said that there would be a discount for the accounts, like Fred's accounts, top-notch accounts. And you should definitely, if you were hesitant, you should definitely give it a go, especially with this discount and your GoLogin. It's already there, you know, the code and everything. Plus, after the meeting, we'll also share this additional 50 triggers, lead magnets, so that you can check if you're doing the right thing, if you're trying to create accounts, if you're trying to just minimize the risks, you would have this checklist with triggers so that you can have better results. Yeah, that's it from my side. And now, yeah, guys, do we have any questions you would love to cover?
Yeah, I could probably cover the last question from Alexander. The question is about, do we have a GoLogin? Do we have integrated tools about automated processing of the content. Unfortunately, we don't yet. So at the moment, we integrated with, as you can see, GetSales and MirrorProfiles. Yeah, so unfortunately, we don't have that yet because, well, it doesn't just work natively. But yeah, if you can recommend a tool that you would actually like to use. So for example, if there's a tool that you like natively, but it doesn't just go together with GoLogin yet, we can talk to them. So usually it's just a, I don't know, it's not, it is a partnership of sorts, but if you have tools to recommend to us, you can send them to me directly, if that's okay. That would be great.
Okay, perfect. I just answered to two interesting questions. I try to write, but my English is not perfect, so I'm not fast. But first, and that was a really important questions about the picture, because the picture of the profile. We are, for now, LinkedIn doesn't detect, or even if they detect your fake photo, they don't ban you for that. But I'm pretty sure the next update will be on this point. So the next update in November now. So it's that why don't use this person doesn't exist.com, an AI photo generator known by everyone, because if it is known by everyone, obviously LinkedIn knows the technology. Okay, so on our side, for example, we develop our own AI for create photo, and after, when we have photo, we upload on an AI detector, and we keep only photo who bypass an AI detector. Maybe it's not the perfect way, but I'm pretty sure it's complicated to LinkedIn after that. So be careful on this point. And the second question, interesting, by Veronica. No, if you want, I read. Thank you. Just to clarify, to use LinkedIn correctly and avoid being banned, do we need purchase and install GoLogin, proxy, GetSales, Clay, and MirrorProfile? No. If you want do on your side, create GoLogin, create LinkedIn, warm up it, etc. You need to use GoLogin, GetSales, proxy. You can use a GoLogin proxy as well, and Clay if you want to outbound. But if you don't want create and warm up on your side, you take MirrorProfile. So it's mean you have already GoLogin because it's included in our package. And after that, if you want to prospect in with LinkedIn automation tools, you can use GetSales for messages, connection requests, and Clay if you want specific databases. That's it. Just to answer on these two questions.
No, that's great. And actually, I see the time is up. Like we've finished. We still have around 70 people, so that's great engagement, I would say. And thanks everyone for attending this meeting. After the call, we will send the follow-up with the perks that you've got, and also we will later on in a week or so we'll send the triggers that we've discussed here. Again, we have to sum it up, like adding some additional triggers. And I hope you would become our new customers, or you'll continue enjoying our like tools, our software and accounts, right? Getting better results. So yeah, if by the way, like let's do the last thing. You can also, but I think you can already send a connection right on LinkedIn to us and saying that we've got a webinar and we can connect. So yeah, great pleasure.
Great.
Right. Thanks for attending, everyone.
Bye bye.
Ciao.